Now, don't be surprised, I'm the rising one. I got game for you like Allen Iverson. You see, high C 5 years from now. Bankroll still swole with that platinum style. Oh, here goes. Welcome to episode 17 of Throwback Hoops. You would have just heard me spit some bars by High C from the track Get Together Again of DJ Quick's 1998 album Rhythmalism, where Allen Iverson was referenced. A happy Australia Day to everyone. And as always, I got my main man, Robbie Clayton, in the house. You know, Rhythmalism is one of my favorite albums of all time, RC. You like that?
Yeah, what's up, Woods? Yeah, I like that, mate. I know you're a massive DJ Quick fan, probably a little bit, a lot more than I am. But no, I do like that track, and I'm always happy to hear you rapping to start off the show, man.
Great to have you, Robbie, as always. Now, we said we'd be having back on the show, RC, for our All-Star Reserves selection episode, and he's here by popular demand, our super producer, Lala. Welcome.
Thanks, man. Well, good to be back, and what a way to follow up Michelle Timms and Andrew Gaze with myself. It's just, yeah, you're on the way up, guys. Well done.
You're the first returning guest as well, Lala. So that's
exactly.
going to mean something, right?
I'm taking all these wins. I was the first guest and then the first returner. It's awesome. But well done, guys. I mean, I got to say, the podcast is great. Getting Tim's on and Andrew Gaze, that was just amazing. Great listens, great stories. So. Yeah, really good. Keep it going, guys.
Hey, we couldn't do it without your help behind the scenes, Lals, man. So thanks for everything you're doing for us, man. Just before we get into it, just some housekeeping here. Please tune into the video program on YouTube and download and subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts. And we're actually on Audible now as well. So appreciate everyone's support there. Now, Lala, there was a reason I dropped those bars at the start of the show, my man.
There is.
So as our guest, why don't you do the honors and tell us a little bit about the jersey you're wearing today?
Man. So I'm rocking a Georgetown Hoyas Allen Iverson jersey. So let me just do a little spin and twirl for you.
It's a fresh looking Nike Georgetown Hoyas number 3 that Lala's rocking there. I like that one, mate. Very nice jersey.
Yeah. So I mean, most hoop heads know who Allen Iverson is, right? I mean, the answer, 4-time scoring champ, 11-time All-Star, Rookie of the Year, first overall pick in '96, if I'm not correct, and then also, Georgetown come from a very prestigious university. Well, so we're Australians saying this, but a lot of big names coming from there: Patrick Ewing, Mutombo, Lonzo Mourning. So
my boy Roy Hibbert as well.
Yeah. There you go.
How could you forget Roy Hibbert? Jeez.
But yeah, I love. I've always been a huge fan of Allen Iverson. The kind of undersized guards that just can score and as prolific as he can. It's amazing. Which is why I'm a big Ja Morant fan and Kyrie Irving, those kind of guys. So man, I had to rock this one today.
Awesome, Lars, awesome. And you would have heard me speaking to Michelle Timms, how she's been such a cultural icon in Australia. And Allen Iverson has just been that as well, with his cornrows and his swagger and the way he went about things. So awesome to see you wearing that jersey.
And the sleeve too. Don't forget the arm sleeve. Yeah,
absolutely.
He used it because he had an injury. I forgot what the name of the actual injury was, but it's like an elbow swelling thing. And that sleeve, that compression sleeve he was wearing became fashion after that. Carmelo rocked it and a few other players. So
hey, that's not the only song that his name's referenced in rap lyrics. So he's a big part of popular culture.
He made some kind of album that he never kind of released, right? Jules or something like that.
He did. Yeah, he did.
I need to look into that a bit more. But yeah, I'm pretty sure there was some. And that was some of the controversy off court, right, with Allen Iverson too. Was I think there was some. Anyway, I haven't read into it too much, but there is something that.
Hey, Lars, didn't you say you had a jersey of his as well?
Yeah, man. So I've just got it right here. So I've got a Mitchell and Ness Philly Iverson jersey as well.
Very nice.
I love those jerseys. I guess I call them shirt jerseys just because you can wear them. They're more wearable than the normal singlet jerseys, right? You don't have to wear a shirt underneath them. You can wear them out and about. So I love those.
Robbie was saying that the other day, right? To Timsy as well when I was wearing her jersey.
No, they're hard to find too.
Places, can't you?
Yeah, they're hard to find though. Like these kind of Mitchell and Ness ones. They only made a few of them. So I've got this. I've got a O'Neal one and can't remember the other one. But anyway, yeah, I like them.
Thanks, Lala. I really appreciate it. And with a bit of an all-star feel to this show, Robbie. I see that you've got a jersey there that you're wearing of someone who's made a mark at an all-star weekend before. So why don't you tell us a little bit about the jersey hanging behind you and the one that you're wearing as always, brother?
Yeah, thanks, Woods. So, look, I thought, as we mentioned, we are recording on the 26th of January, being Australia Day. So, I thought only fitting I sort of have the Luke Longley Australian Boomers jersey behind me. Look, I plan on sort of featuring Longley in an NBA jersey in a future episode, so I'm not going to talk too much about him now. But look, in terms of his Boomers career, he played in the 98, 92, and 2000 Olympics. He was injured in the 96 Olympic Games in Atlanta due to injury. And look, Longley's really spoken how much playing for the Boomers means to him, and it's meant just as much as him winning those 3 NBA championships. So, bit of a random jersey, that one, Woods. It's an old champion one. It's actually made of wool as well, which is very strange. I think it might be the only jersey in the collection. It's like a wool blend type jersey, but not too heavy, but certainly very good quality there. So that's big Luke Longley there. So, look, in terms of the one that I'm wearing today, so I'll stand up and let you see that, and I'll sort of tell you a few words about him.
So for all those who are listening to the audio version of the show, Robbie's got the champion Clippers Brent Barry jersey by popular demand. Robbie, I know you got a request on Twitter or Facebook or somewhere to rock a Brent Barry
That's
jersey.
right.
So we've got to give the people what they want, as Jalen Rose says.
Exactly right. So if anyone else has got requests, let me know. So look, a quick shout out to my brother as well, the only LA Clippers fan in the world. So he'll appreciate me wearing this one. And look, he's been going for them since the early 90s before they sort of became a bit more popular. So
shout out to you, Matt. Shout out to you,
right.
Bro.
So look, a little bit of information on Brent Bones Barry. Bones played 14 seasons in the NBA after getting drafted out of Oregon State at pick 15 in the 95 draft. Now, Woods, I was going to do this, mate. Tell me some of the top players in that 95 draft. Can you remember them? I love putting you on the spot on the show.
Jalen Rose was definitely part of that draft.
Well,
right?
I'm talking about more the higher ones. So, like, who was
Jason Kidd, Grant Hill, Glenn, Big Dog Robinson.
Different draft, that one. So this one was number 1, Joe Smith.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Number 2 was Antonio McDyess. And then look at these next three picks. Number 3, Jerry Stackhouse. Number 4, Rasheed Wallace. And number 5, Kevin Garnett. So,
right. I was quoting the year before that. Sorry, my bad, man.
That is a pretty solid sort of draft there, I guess. Look, I guess, in terms of Brent Barry there, so he played with the Clippers, the Heat, the Bulls, Sonics, Spurs, and Rockets. And of course, he was a 2-time champion, 05 and 07 with the Spurs. And probably one thing he'll always be remembered for is, winning the NBA slam dunk competition in 1996, which he put on a great sort of display there. He was doing a lot of commentating post-career. He's currently working as the Spurs Vice President of Basketball Operations. So for those, the surname sounds familiar. Brent Barry is the son of Hall of Famer Rick Barry. Those will probably remember the underarm free throws on the old videos there. And he's also the brother to John Barry, who had a solid NBA career. There's Canyon Barry, who's the youngest and currently playing in the G League. And of course, a shout out to your old mate, Drew Barry, who played for the Sydney Kingswoods in 1999. Yep. So there was a little bit of a link from Brent Barry to the NBL there. So, yep, that's who I'm rocking today. And liking this old school champion Clippers jersey.
And just quietly, Brent Barry's not going to be sending a postcard to Tony Parker anytime soon.
No, I don't think him and Tony Parker will sort of be sharing any family sort of get-togethers. If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about that one, just put Brent Barry and Tony Parker into Google and they'll see some interesting stuff.
All right, thanks, Robbie. And as it is an all-star special episode, I thought I'd wear one of my favorite jerseys of a former all-star. So while I just stand up, and I've actually got the Denver Nuggets hat to go with the jersey today. So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about what I'm wearing as I stand up, Robbie?
Yeah, definitely. So Woody's wearing the retro Alex English Denver Nuggets number 2 jersey. Now, with the sort of Denver skyline and everything and the mountains on there. Great color jersey. And look, I know this is definitely one of Woody's favorites. I've actually got the same one. So we make sure we won't double up with wearing these. But yeah, I know you love this one, Woods. What can you tell us about Mr. English?
Look, when we speak about underrated players in NBA history, Alex English's name is one that has to be mentioned, right? And when we talked about the top 75, or was the top 50, players that was announced for the 75 years, or was it 75? No, 75.
Yeah.
75, sorry. He missed out on the 50 25 years ago, and he missed out on the 75 again this year, right? So, I mean, just a little bit about him. I mean, he's a second-round pick, 23rd pick in the second round of the 76 draft by the Milwaukee Bucks, Robbie, Lala, but he was most well known for his time, with the Denver Nuggets between 1980 and 90. And in that 10 years, he made the All-Star team 8 consecutive years, from 82 all the way to 89. He's a 3-time All-NBA second teamer in 82, 83, and 86. He was the NBA scoring champ in 1983. Hey, check this out. No player scored more points in the 80s than Alex English did. Wow. Right, Robbie?
Crazy. So can we just kick Anthony Davis out of that top 75 and put English in there today?
Yeah, he deserves it, man. And silky smooth mid-range assassin he was. If he was playing in today's NBA, I'm sure he would have stretched that shot out to the 3-point area a little bit more. And it's such a nice, nice technique on his jump shot, man. He's just as smooth as silk when he was playing. I loved watching him play. And his number 2 is retired by the Denver Nuggets, and his number 22 is actually retired by South Carolina.
Very good.
So Alex English I have for you guys. All right, so thanks, boys, for that. I want to quickly go through what we're going to cover on this week's show. As I spoke about earlier, we're all going to go through our all-star selections and discuss that. We've got classic packs as usual, Robbie, and today I've got the 91-92 hoops. Lala, you haven't actually been on an episode when we've done classic packs, so it's good to have you on board.
Can't wait.
Thanks, guys. And but I think we'll just kick things off with some NBL talk. You guys ready to chop it up? Or
let's do it.
Let's go, man.
All right. So it's nice to see you been branching out a little bit, Lala, and watching some NBL lately. How have you found it?
Yeah, awesome, bro. I kind of tend to miss the timing sometimes, and I catch the tail end of games, so I tend to watch some of those KO minis afterwards to get the overall highlights. But caught a few of the Kings games, and I know Robbie's Wildcats. I caught a couple of their games. I saw the Kings blow some leads last week, which I'm sure you're not happy about. And I did send you some texts, pass my condolences. But I did see them, really come back strong on the weekend. I think against the Bullets, in a large double-digit lead. So that was really good to see. And watching the Wildcats, Bryce Cotton, he's amazing. I love watching him play. But another name, which is Vic Law, and I haven't seen much of him, but he's great. He's a solid-looking NBL player. And so it's good. I'm enjoying this. And I think for me, it's just kind of getting accustomed to these players and these stars. And the Olympics kind of helps. I'm seeing some of the guys, filtering through the league. And the Jack Jumpers, I saw them, new team. They looked all right, but I think they lost in that game. But, it's good. I'm enjoying the NBL. More basketball. I can't complain, man.
What about your former Brooklyn Net Tajir McCall, who you touched on? I heard that you watched a Taipans game the other day, and you checked him out playing, right?
Yeah, man, he's looking good, man. And you called it early in the season. His defense and his lockdown ability has been really great. So I think, he's going to be good to watch for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's awesome that you're actually watching some games, Lala, and hopefully we can get out to the Kingdom at some point this season with you, Robbie, and myself, right? So
definitely.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
All right. So, look, it's 1/3 the way through the season, guys. And I thought that it's only fitting that Robbie and I sort of give a little bit of overview of how our Wildcats and our Kings are doing and talk about some key points and give a grade to our respective lineups. So, Robbie, would you like to take it away or what?
Yeah, I'd love to, man. So, look, I guess in terms of the Wildcats, at the time of recording, they're 6-2 in second place on the ladder. So it all sort of sounds good there, but it's been a very strange season for the Wildcats, a very interrupted season. They've been really hit sort of early on in the year with injuries, some quite sort of key injuries and not having their core team together. And of course, they're kind of in that, I guess, boat now like New Zealand, where they have had to leave the state and they're based in Tassie at the moment, which ironically, they went to Tassie and they all ended up getting COVID, which was pretty crazy there. So, look, in terms of a grade for them so far this year, I'm going to give them an A. Hopefully that's not being a homer
there.
That's
fair, man.
Look, 6-2 in second place with a lot of sort of things that have gone against us this year. So I think they've gone pretty well. I also think factoring in the new coach, taking over from a previous legend, I think obviously they're going to sort of take a while to sort of all gel there. I do think we have the best import tandem in the league in Bryce Cotton and Vic Law. I don't think there's a lot of argument about that at the moment. And I also think Frazier's kind of stepped up in the last few games there. So, we're averaging 88 as a team, giving up 79. And I guess probably more importantly, we're starting to look little bit more healthy now. Matt Hodgson's back, Todd Blanchfield's back, and he's playing great. I mean, we need him healthy if we want to sort of go far this year. So look, I'm sort of pretty happy with how we're going there, boys. We've got another return game against Illawarra tomorrow in Wollongong. So I really enjoyed the game the other day.
It's going to be fun.
That second half the Wildcats play was just amazing there. So obviously Gorgon's not going to be happy about losing that game, and he'll obviously sort of get the Hawks fired up for that game. It's probably only one concern for me at the moment, and that's probably something outside of our hands at the moment, and that's the WA border being closed. I did put a little tweet on there last week that, the only thing that might stop this Wildcats playoff streak is McGowan, the Premier of WA, just by sort of locking them out there. We know how, great the Wildcats home court advantage is there. So hopefully things improve with the COVID, but I think the Wildcats have got to be prepared that they might be, like New Zealand are doing for the rest of the year and playing a lot of games away from home. So obviously keep that record ticking over. Of course, Woods, we're going on Sunday. Really looking forward to go for our sort of annual Wildcats
tradition, man.
Kings
Tradition.
game. Yep.
Yeah.
So normally a tradition for those that don't know, we go to a game, Wildcats win, and we come home. So that's normally the tradition there. So we'll see how that goes this year. But look, I think it could be probably a bit of a closer game this year. But yeah, that's sort of how I'm sort of, grading the Wildcats at the moment. I'll give them an A. I think there is some room for improvement with some of the play there, but also, as I said, there's definitely some concerns about, when we might eventually get home there. So, and what about yourself, Woods, with your Kings?
Yeah. Well, just before I get to that, Robbie, I wanted to ask you one thing though about the Wildcats, right? Those guys, Majuk and the other center, I'm just having a blank right now, Hodgson, right? They're struggling with their defensive rebounds, man. On that end of the floor, they couldn't grab one the other night. I know you said Frazier's doing well. Is there some scope that potentially Fraser goes and they bring in a big man? And I don't know, man. I've heard it in various different outlets that that's one area that the Wildcats could look to strengthen their stocks, because the defensive rebounding hasn't been good. They've been good on the offensive glass, don't get me wrong. Yeah. Right? Both Hodgson and Majuk, right? Yeah.
I don't know. I think it'd be probably maybe a bit of a dangerous call to do that with Fraser. He's been injured to start off the year, and he's finally starting to play well and making an impact on the team there. So I wouldn't be surprised if we stick with who we've got, but I guess just try and sort of bring that effort more on the boards. We've got a few sort of veterans, that obviously you said Majuk and Matt Hodgson there are two big units there. So there's no reason why those guys shouldn't be out there locking up all those defensive boards. But I agree. That's definitely something that has sort of let us down, and it's been a little bit of a worry against some of the bigger teams in the league. But yeah, probably not too concerned about the Woods. I think we will keep the team together for now. I know there's been mention of Thon Maker, sort of always hear that name sort of coming out, but I don't know that would change a whole lot either. So.
Well, Matt Hodgson has also not been 100% healthy. So as he comes back to full fitness and gets some reps in him, I'm sure that he's going to improve on the defensive glass. And of course,
Woods, a big shout out to Body Nodge as well. We know he's a big Matty Hodgson fan. So yeah, we thought I'd shout him out there.
Yeah, and shout out to Liam and Brad. For what reason, Robbie? What have they been selected to do recently?
Of course, yeah. So they're putting together that 40-year Perth Wildcats sort of best team there. So yeah, Body and Liam, if you need any assistance there, I've been watching the Wildcats for all 40 of those years. But no, I'm sure you guys will do a great job in selecting it there. And look forward to see who you guys put in that team.
Thanks, Robbie. Really appreciate it. So look, while you rightfully so gave your Wildcats an A, I'm going to give my Kings a C. And only because of the injuries we've had to deal with, right? And not being able to have a full lineup on the court. Otherwise, I might have even given us a D. And we've spoken about losing RJ Hunter. We've spoken about Jordan Hunter out for the season, Robbie.
Yeah.
And that's really hurt us. And as Lala alluded to earlier, those fourth quarter meltdowns have been a real concern. It's been tough, man, losing leads at home to New Zealand and then away to Brisbane. And the way this offense is run, and I just want to ask you, Robbie, it's like a 5-out positionless basketball, as Gazy alluded to last week. Coach Buford is running like, that G League type of offense in a FIBA basketball situation. And I'm not 100% convinced. Like in the fourth quarter, right? When your offense is a bit stagnant and you need a bucket, right? Isn't there some credence in just, pick and roll between Martin and Adams, or getting Jarrell some touches in the elbow in the post so he can go get a high percentage shot? Talk to me
Possibly
about
like a
that.
plan B, I think Buford might need their Woods. Obviously, it's good when it's going well, but in these things where obviously they're getting a bit tired and giving up leads, I agree. Maybe looking at playing a bit more pick and roll game and just having that
Yep,
plan B option. I guess. I mean, look, you'll probably speak about it as well, but I guess the rotations for me is a big thing for Sydney. They've got to just shorten the rotations there. You're playing
100%.
40-minute games. You don't need to be playing 10 or 11 people there. Playing limited
Totally.
minutes. So shorten the rotation and give your guns more minutes. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, well, you speak of Gorgian, right? He said, look, AJ, Emmett, we're not going to play you, right? We're going to play 7-8 guys, and this is going to be our rotation. If something happens, there's a COVID situation or an injury, then there's that next man up mentality. But we're going to play these 7-8 guys, and we're going to stick to that, right? And I think Coach Buford could look a little bit of that.
Well, here's a question
right?
for a big Kings fan, Woods. Who's potentially playing too much at the moment? Who's someone that you probably think could maybe be sitting down a little bit more than they are?
Sean Bruce, man. I mean, I'm a huge supporter and a fan of Sean Bruce.
Yep.
But he's really regressed this year. And, we talked about it earlier. We're missing that guy in the fourth quarter that has experience, a veteran like Brad Newley or Kickett that we've had in previous years, Kevin Lish before he retired. And we're missing that guy with experience in that fourth quarter who can actually take us home when we've got a lead, right? And I thought Sean Bruce was going to be that guy, but he's playing 20 minutes a game. I think that let's give those minutes to Adams now that he's coming back. And when Biwali's back from injury, I would be giving Biwali's minutes straight to Bruce. I know you say Biwali plays a little bit too much, but I think he's young, and let him go out there and play those minutes a little bit, and I'm not sure if you agree there.
Fair call.
One thing I will say, though, everyone's been very, very critical of Coach Buford, but he seems a great coach for developing players. I mean, you look at Angus Glover, Wani Swakala-Bullock, and how they've played this year. Both of them have come out in the media and said how much they like playing for Chase. And you can really see those guys with the additional opportunities that they're thriving, right?
Clearly a player's coach, isn't he? I mean, I know when you sort of asked that question in that press conference a few years ago to Buford and to Wani there, I mean, you could just tell by the way that, Chase sort of had his back in those questions. And I've kind of noticed him a few times on the broadcast feeds. You'll see, Wani go over and have a quick word to him, and there seems to be a really sort of positive relationship there. So I guess that's definitely on the plus side for them, isn't it, with that coaching?
Yep, totally, man. I agree with you. And hey, look, I've heard it through the grapevine that Matt Mooney is going to be the guy that we're going to pick up. Another guard. I'm not sure that's what we need. I'd prefer a big man. Lala, do you know a little bit about Matt Mooney? He just had a couple of 10-day contracts with the New York Knicks.
No, I don't.
All right. So it looks like through our sources that it's a possibility that Matt Mooney is going to be the guy that replaces RJ Hunter. Robs, what do you know about Matt Mooney?
I don't know much about him either, Woods. I heard obviously you and Gazy mentioned him on last week's show, but yeah, we might leave it to you, mate. What do you know about him? Me and Lala, I don't know much.
He's a shooter, right? He comes with one skill set that RJ Hunter was going to bring, which was that outside scoring. And as Gazy said last week, if we're playing that positionless brand of basketball, and we saw Matteo Maker had an all right little run on the court, so maybe they're just going to run with the Maker brothers. And
is this bloke any relation to my boy Tom Moody as well, or what?
Tom Moody. No, it's Mooney. Matt Mooney, right? Actually,
Mooney.
What we need is a John Mooney, not a Matt Mooney, right?
So Mooney
that would be a better
John
fit
Mooney.
for us, right?
Well, I definitely know nothing about him. All right, so continue.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, awesome. So looking forward to getting out the game with you. And it's fitting that we did our reviews just before the game between the Wildcats and the Kings as well, man. So nice. All right, so I might just quickly bring up the draw for the next round, and let's just quickly give our tips, guys, if you're good with that.
Definitely. I think this week's round finishes tonight, doesn't it? That's
right now as we're speaking.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's Brisbane.
I've actually taped the game on ESPN, so once I'm done, I'm gonna watch it. So
nice.
You guys see that?
All good.
All right. Do you want to take us through them, Robbie? Take us through them. How about it?
Sweet. All right. So tomorrow, I guess the first game of this round is the Hawks and the Wildcats. So look, potentially that is one of the games of the rounds there, I guess. But look, I'm probably going to do something I don't normally do and maybe pick the Hawks for that. I think the Wildcats have sort of been on this road trip a while, and it's going to continue. I think the Hawks will want revenge. But yeah, what about you guys? Who you liking for that game?
Lala?
I'm going to go the Wildcats just to stick with your team, mate. But yeah, I understand what you're saying, and not being at home and things like that might really affect them. So yeah, Woody?
Wildcats for me too.
Interesting. All right, so the next game, so this is Friday night. We've got the Jack Jumpers playing against the 36ers. I've got to say the 36ers are one team I feel like I can't get too much of a read on this year. What was that message I sent you the other night, Woods? They've got the worst import combination in the league. I know you do like Hannah's a bit more than me, but honestly, from what they're getting from their 2 imports, they only stuck with. Oh, actually, they've got Manny Malou, but he's basically not playing, so it feels like there is only 2 at the moment. So,
well, Manny Malou's not an import; he's actually
okay.
Australian.
So why don't they go and get another import if the 2 they've got aren't that good?
No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
It seems a funny roster the way it's been put together. I feel a little bit sorry for CJ Bruton, actually. He's just got this weird mix of players that have sort of come into this team. So, look, I guess for that reason, I'll go the Jack Jumpers for that. Lala, who do you like for that one for the Friday game?
Well, I think I'll go Jack Jumpers too. They're at home in this game by the looks of it.
Yeah.
So let's go the home team.
That's going to be one ugly game to watch, man. I'm going to go Adelaide, though.
So it could be like 70 to 66 or something.
Yep.
Nice. Next game after that, I like this game as well. So we've got Cairns playing against Illawarra on Saturday. So Illawarra have got another couple of games this round. But yeah, look, it's probably hard for me not to pick Illawarra. As I said, I wasn't very impressed with Cairns. They're really treading water with Scott Machado out at the moment. They're making guys that just aren't ball handlers sort of play the point guard position. So I'm going to say Hawks quite easily in that game. What do you reckon, Woods?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I mean, if Machado's back, it might even things up. Do you know a little bit about the injury situation there with Cairns? And if Machado's
I haven't heard that he's that close to getting back. So, yeah, I'm not sure if it'll be this weekend. But, they need him back desperately, don't they?
Yeah, they need more from Keanu Pinder in the starting lineup. He was not too good last night.
He looked good with his hair out in the second half, though, didn't he?
Oh, love his rat step.
That block that he did.
Yeah, that was big. 2 blocks, 2 steals. So nice.
What about that game, Lala? Got any difference?
I'll go the Hawks too, guys.
Go the Hawks as well. Cool. All right, so I guess we go to Saturday. So I like this game as well. We've got the Brisbane Bullets at home against Southeast Melbourne. I know they've sort of played fairly recently as well. Franks was pretty decent in that game. I'm going to say Brisbane at home for that one for me. Who's next?
I think I'll go Southeast Melbourne on this one. Only because I've seen probably a bit more of their gameplay. So, it's just me taking bias that way.
Yeah, look, this is not going to be the game of the round. Obviously, the Kings and the Wildcats, but it's going to be a damn good game, man. It's hard to choose this one. I think Brisbane just looked so bad against Sydney last Sunday. I'm going to go with Lala on this one, Southeast Melbourne.
Fair call. And the next game after that, we've got the 36ers against Melbourne United. As I mentioned, I'm not sort of too high on 36ers this year, so I'll take United in that game. Lala, who you like for that one?
Yeah, we'll go United too. Looking at that nice 5-win streak that they've got going too.
And Delhi's just stepping it up, man, doing whatever he can to make his team.
That game he had the other week was his career high in any capacity. So he never got that much at St. Mary's. He never got that much in the NBA. Like, that's crazy, right?
Wow. He got 32 at St. Mary's, right? So this 33-point game was his career high in any form of basketball, man. So
who would have predicted that?
Yeah.
All right, so cool. So
I got Melbourne.
Okay. All right, then we go on to the next game, Woods. I believe it's 3 p.m. on Sunday. You'll be coming out with the Clayton family as you do every year. So, Sydney against the Wildcats. I'll be rocking my brand new Vic Law jersey. I told you that already.
I'll be rocking my brand new Xavier Cooks jersey.
Nice.
And you know who I'm tipping? The Kings, baby.
Fact, we won't even give a prediction for this. Lala, who do you want? Because you know who we're both going to pick.
Well, I think I got to go Kings.
Thanks, Lals.
Fair enough. All right, then we come to the last game of the round. So this is it's a New Zealand home game, but it is being played in Tasmania. So we've got the Breakers against the Jack Jumpers.
How ridiculous is that, by the way?
It's not very fair for New Zealand, is it? I mean, really.
You
know what? I'm going to pick New Zealand. I'm going to say they fire up for this game. Yanni Wetzel to have a big one there. And that's their only game in the round, isn't it? After they sort of missed that game last round. So they'll probably be pretty fresh and ready to go. So I'll take the Breakers. Who do you boys like for that last game?
Yeah, I'll go Breakers. Same reasons, yeah.
Yeah. No,
hey, just quickly, Robbie, when we did our predictions for the awards at the start of the season for the NBL, you chose Xavier Rathan Mays as your 6th man of the year, and I chose J-Mart, right? And those two are probably the front runners, so good job there.
I think a few of those predictions are looking okay at this stage, aren't they? A few of them.
Yep.
Well, how's Joe Chi for MVP going? Wasn't that one of them?
That was. I think the big one for that is he needs to keep playing more games. He's missed a couple of games. He had a random, what they said was a gastro or non-COVID related injury yesterday. So we need to see him get out there. He's playing great when he's there. But, I mean, look, if I could probably change that now, I might, Lala. But, hey, it was a good call at the start. And you never know. I just think it's hard when you're playing with Mitch Creek, who's probably going to eventually probably get more votes than Chi will. But, yeah.
First import to get cut quickly before we move on?
got to be Withers from the 36ers, right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Got to be him. Is there anyone else from any other team that stands out? I mean, the Adelaide guys seem sort of clear to me. I can't really think of anyone else that's not playing that well for the other team.
McIntosh from Tasmania, maybe.
Yeah, he's like a foul waiting to happen, that bloke, isn't he? My goodness.
Yeah.
It's like a bull in a china shop. He gets the ball and just takes out about 3 people on the way to the basket and then gets surprised that they've called a charge foul.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to get to the next segment of our show. We got Lala here to do this. I'm really excited about this, guys, but we're going to get into our all-star selections. So let me just bring up
Looking forward to this too. It should be good. Hopefully it won't be too controversial, but yeah, it might be. You never know.
Yeah.
So as a guest on the show, Lala, do you want to take us away?
Yeah, let's do it. So I think
Right.
you went through your selections last week or week before for the starters. And we're all looking pretty much the same, right? I guess now with the injury to Durant, we've obviously made some subs.
Yeah.
And I've brought in Butler. I think he's having a great season. And we talked about this just before the cast today. And, does team record matter or in all-star selection or not? I don't think it does, but Jimmy Butler does make the Heat a lot better. And
number one team in the East right now as well.
Yeah. So... that's why he gets my vote. And, the Heat are a great team. And, when he was out, the team, I mean, look, again, this doesn't help his all-star selection, but the Heat are playing great, even when he was off the court. So I think it's a tricky one, right? I mean, look, you guys tell us why you guys got Tatum.
I guess for me, I mean, look, I don't think Tatum's been amazing this year. He's obviously had a great sort of last game when he went for 50, but his percentage and his shooting numbers are down across the board. But I don't know, that front court in the East was really hard, and it's probably a bit of a concern. I might mention it later. Just is the positioning for these picks there. I just think it should be a little bit more flexible. I mean, DeMar DeRozan as a guard, really? Really? Surely we could put DeMar DeRozan into the front court where he actually plays all of his minutes and has done for quite some time now, and potentially get another guard in there. But that's for whatever reason the way the NBA people sort of do it there. But how are you sort of feeling about Tatum there, Woods? Were you confident or sort of comfortable putting him there? Or?
No, not really. Just lack of a better option there. I think with Butler, he's played maybe 28, 29. I can't remember exact amount out of the game. So I just thought Tatum. And look, it's fitting, man. In the last little period, not just the 50-point game, but in the last little period, he's actually, improved his play quite a bit. And he's done. This is more a selection for the work that he's done in previous years leading up to this, right?
Well, I read yesterday that the Celtics basically had a similar record at this stage last year, and Brown and Tatum both made it, which was sort of pretty interesting to hear. So we'll obviously find out if any of us have got Brown on that list there. But yeah,
we'll just move on to the reserves then, shall we? So, Rob, do you want to take us away there with your selections and?
Yeah, sure. So obviously the reserves there. So we're looking at the East there. So I guess my two. So the way they do this, just for the people that aren't familiar, you've got to choose 2 backcourt, 3 front court, and then 2 wild cards. So
and Robbie, just for the people who are listening to the podcast and actually can't see this graphic on the screen, maybe you can go through your
absolutely
your whole selections.
All right. So the guys I've got for my sort of reserves. So in the backcourt, I've got James Harden, and for those that can see it, that's a great picture of him there. And I've got my boy Zach LaVine. I was actually wearing his jersey this morning, actually. So yeah, my boy Zach LaVine. In the front court, I've got Butler. I've got Chris Middleton, who neither of you guys had. I just think. Again, a little bit like Tatum, his numbers have been a little bit down from last year, but I still think he's an absolutely vital cog to that Milwaukee team there, and I'm a big Chris Middleton fan. And then it's interesting, we've all picked first-time All-Star Miles Bridges to make the team there. So, Look, I would have loved to have sort of been able to put John Collins on that spot there, boys, but the truth is he just hasn't been playing probably as good as he can be this season. So Bridges brings it absolutely every night. So I notice a lot of the experts aren't having him in the team there, which is maybe somewhat surprising. And look, in terms of, everyone wanted to get a couple of Cavs in there. I've just got the one. So for my wildcard spots, I went a couple of backcourt guys there. So I went Darius Garland and I went Fred VanVleet, who will both be first-time All-Stars if they make it. That's probably where I am. Do you want to know my snubs now, Woods, or are we going to do that sort of at the end and say?
No, go for it, man. While you're talking,
of course. So look, my snubs for the East. Look, probably more an apology. Jaylen Brown. I don't think he was sort of close to making it. Domas Sabonis. I'm a big fan of that guy. He's obviously played quite a few of the last All-Star games, so he was potentially unlucky not to make it. I would have liked to have get him in there. And the other person I have, obviously, is Jared Allen as well. to be honest, I couldn't just justify having two Cavs on that team. So I ended up going Garland for my selection there. But yeah, that's where I'm looking at in the East there, boys.
No, I like it. I like it, Rob. So, Lala, would you like to take us through your
Yes.
selections in the East?
So yeah, again for those who can't see, I've got James Harden and Levine as my backcourt, same as Robbie, for the obvious reasons. I mean, they're playing great, and even Levine could have even been a starter, I guess, in this. To be honest, it hasn't
It was
been.
either him or DeRozan,
Well,
right?
yeah, him or DeRozan, and even Trey. Like you could mix those up, and it would have been
Sure.
perfectly okay. I think they've all had outstanding years. So because I had Butler starting, I've got Tatum coming in as a reserve. Similar reasons to as we've discussed. He's coming good, and he is an all-star player, I think, and he's definitely played better than Jaylen Brown this year, I think. Who again I think is a snub. He's just on the fringe. Maybe he just didn't do enough. He has had a few big games, but I don't know. Again, like you say, I like you said about the Cavs not having two players, I couldn't put two Celtics into the All-Star East. I put in Jarrett Allen and Miles Bridges, as you mentioned, first time. I mean, he's having a breakout year. I mean, MIP, I think, is his to lose right now.
Yep.
I'm not sure if you guys agree or disagree.
Yeah.
And Jarrett Allen, he's like holding the fort at the Cavs and playing great, and I think a large part of their success. And the wild cards, we've got Garland and Van Vliet as well. Both again, just having steady Freddy's just really breaking out the last probably month or two. I think playing really good.
There's been a big push from Toronto to get him in that game too. Every time you listen to one of their games, they don't stop talking about it, do they?
Yeah, they love him. And Garland, yeah, like spectacular. I kind of wish that he'd been playing this way all season. That would have made starter selection much harder. I think he's having a phenomenal season. But yeah, Woods, who you got?
Yeah, look, just before I give mine, Lala, you must be really happy to see Jarrett Allen,
Former Brooklyn Net,
develop
man.
the way he has, man.
Yeah, man.
From his time with your Brooklyn Nets to where he's got today. That must be really, pleasing for you to see him come along this way, right?
Exactly. Wishing he was still on the Nets. He'd be great there. We're lacking that center force that he is. So yeah, man, he's doing great, and especially on a team where they are just so tall. Like they have so many. Like Mobley's having a great year, and Markkanen.
Larry Bird
and
playing
Larry
small
Bird.
forward at 7 foot.
Yeah.
On that Cavs thing there, boys, did you see that they were the first team that passed their Vegas win total prediction last week? So
already
I think their win total prediction was 26, and they already passed that with like some 35 games to go. So fair to say they probably surprised a few people this season.
Yeah, I'd say
Shout out to Kevin Love, man.
Yeah, he's having a good year too. It's good to see him
All right.
kind of back to former glory. What do you got?
Yep, so I'll just quickly go through mine, guys. So I've got Harden and Levine just like you, and Darius Garland and Fred Van Vliet as my wild card. So our choices didn't really differ there. Robbie and me have got Butler coming in the front court off the bench, as you had him in the starting lineup, Lala. So no difference there. The difference with me was I went with Jarrett Allen ahead of Chris Middleton, and I've also got Miles Bridges there. So pretty similar in the East. There's a few discrepancies between our selections, but I think we're on the right track. I guess in terms of my snubs, I would have liked to get Chris Middleton in there. I actually thought about bringing him as a wild card in instead of Freddie Van Vliet. But, I mean, this guy's undrafted, Robbie, Lala. And for him to forge the career that he has, it's just been incredible. And I think this is just reward for how he's developed as a player over the last few years. And, he's basically the main guy on that Toronto Raptors team now. So I think it's well deserved.
Hey, Woods or Lala, did either of you guys consider Drew Holiday? I know he was kind of in the back of my mind. I think
he was.
The difference when he plays for the Bucks compared to when he's off the court is one of the biggest sort of differentials in the league. But I found it hard not having him in there as well. And I kind of also thought about LaMelo Ball too, just given that it's an all-star game, he would have been fun to watch. But you can't.
I think a lot of people got LaMelo Ball in there, man. A lot of pundits.
He'll get the fan votes, I think, but whether he actually gets through. Another one I had was Tyler Hero. He was on the fringe for me.
Damn.
I think his numbers are almost identical to Miles Bridges. So
it's funny, a lot of those big teams or the high up teams in the East, I think Brooklyn's probably the only one, obviously KD won't play, that'll have multiple people make it. You look at Philadelphia, one player. You look at Miami, we only think one player will make it. So a lot of those teams,
Chicago
it's interesting.
got two.
Milwaukee,
We got two, I
one
reckon.
player, so it's interesting there. Normally, sort of those teams that are up the top, they're automatically going to get two. Sometimes we've seen three in the past. So very evenly spread out this year, which I like.
Yeah. Well, Lala makes a good point. Chicago's got Levine and DeRozan as well, Rob. So that's good. At least they deserve it.
Yeah.
All right. So let's just move on now to our starters in the West. Nothing's really changed since we presented these in a couple of episodes ago when we went through our starters, guys. But quickly, Lala, Robbie, do you just want to touch on? Actually, Lala, do you just want to go through all three of them? We won't spend too much time on this and where the discrepancies are. That's all.
Yeah. So we've all got Steph Curry starting in the backcourt for the West. But we're all different on the second person. Woody's got Chris Paul, Robbie's got Mitchell, and I've got Morant. I think all equally acceptable here. Robbie might debate the Chris Paul one, but we'll talk about that later. And then in the front court, James and Jokic, I think, are givens, both MVP candidates, I think. And then Woody differed from me and Robbie and having Gobert, which I think also is a good selection. We've got Towns, who's kind of really come good at this kind of second quarter of the season. I think he kind of started a little slow, but he's come good, right, Woods?
Yeah, and the team's playing well as well, so he deserves that. Yeah. So I'm not going to argue with you there. All right, let's move over to our reserves in the West. You mentioned, I'll just quickly go through mine, guys. You mentioned Karl Anthony Towns, Lala, that he's starting for you and Robbie. Well, I've had him on the bench in my front court alongside Draymond Green and Brandon Ingram. I just think he's really taken strides on the defensive end this year, and although the Pelicans haven't been great, I think Ingram has sort of becoming a little bit more of a two-way player, and I think he deserves that all-star selection. In the backcourt, I've gone with Ja Morant and Donovan Mitchell, the guys that respectively you guys had in the starting lineup. I think Robbie had Mitchell and Lala had Ja Morant, so I've got both those guys in my backcourt. And as a wild card, I've gone with Devin Booker. He's just been terrific and just continued on with what Phoenix did last year. Him and Chris Paul have been instrumental in the Phoenix Suns doing so well this year, so he deserves that. And my main man, actually, I'm going to say it right now, even though I'm a Hawker for life, man, I'm a Hawks man for life. My favorite player in the NBA right now is DeJounte Murray, right? I can't believe I don't have his jersey, Robbie. I'm going to get one, but I got DeJounte Murray as my wild card there. And my snub is Luka, man. He's not on there. I'm sorry. No, I don't know. I don't have room for Luka on my starting lineup, Robbie.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Interesting. It's funny. I actually found the West reserves quite a lot harder than the East. I don't know if you guys found the same, but I felt there was a few sort of there. So, yeah, I guess just sort of quickly with mine, I've got Ja Morant and Devin Booker as my backcourt there. Look, I did select my starters a few weeks ago. I could probably say maybe Morant's potentially overtaken Donovan Mitchell now, but look, I'm happy. As long as they're there in the game, I don't think it matters who starts. I've got Draymond as my first front court player. Now, we're probably noting that he will probably miss the game, so I'll tell you who I'll have as a replacement for him. I've also got Anthony Davis in there, which you boys don't. So he actually came back today for the Lakers, but watch this space. We've got at least 2 more weeks for him to pick up another injury before that All-Star game starts, so would not shock anyone in the world if that happens, obviously. I picked Big Jonas Valanciunas to play in his first All-Star game there. I think he's had a great year for the Pels there, and I like the way he's gone. Obviously, you guys have had Ingram. I wanted to sort of take Big Jonas there, so that's my guy there. The wildcard spots is when I found it quite hard. Look, you can see one notable name there, and look, I know I'll probably get a little bit of hate mail about this one, but I don't have Chris Paul. He's probably made me look a little bit stupid with that game he had yesterday, which is a few days ago, his best game of the season. But look, in terms of, I think his numbers have been great and the team's playing well, but I just think in terms of overall numbers, my personal opinion is that I prefer to have Luka, who's certainly fired up of late, and Woody's boy, DeJounte, who's just been so consistent all year.
Robbie.
So, yeah, so that's who I've got for that team. And look, I am expecting Draymond won't play in that game. So look, maybe I'll just chuck Chris Paul.
We'll get into that after Lala goes through his, and we'll all select our replacements for Draymond if he's not playing.
Sure. And in terms of snubs for me, look, obviously Chris Paul, I've mentioned that. Anthony Edwards, I thought was someone that was, definitely a fair chance. He might have made that sort of spot. I think he was listed as a backcourt player as well. So again, these positions aren't doing me any favours. And also probably Rudy Gobert, and maybe a slight shout out to Andrew Wiggins as well. well. He has had a pretty good year, Wiggins, maybe one of his more solid careers in terms of, overall numbers and efficiency, but I just couldn't find a spot for him there. So, yeah, that's
Robbie,
fine.
just before we move on to Lala, I just got to say, man, 3 players that you've been vocally critical of over the years are Draymond Green, Anthony Davis, and Luka Doncic.
Mm-hmm.
You got all 3 in your team, man.
I wouldn't say I've been overly critical on Luka Doncic. I think that's a little harsh. But, yeah, you're right on the other 2. I'm not massive fans of either Draymond or Davis. But Draymond, for me, I mean, look, he'll probably be on he'll have Lala's name on his list now because I know he can recall all the players that, got drafted over him in that sort of time when he first got drafted. So I think he's been great. He's really been the backbone of that team there. Anthony Davis, I didn't feel good about it, Woods, but if you look at his numbers this year, I found it sort of hard to argue. We obviously expect quite a lot from him. His numbers have been pretty decent, so it's just a matter of him, actually playing a few weeks in a row and actually, maybe toughening up a little bit. So, yeah.
Yeah. For me, I've got Mitchell and Booker as a reserve backcourt.
Yep.
That's pretty straightforward. And for the front court, I've got Gobert, Ingram, so same as Woody. For the same reasons, I think, with that hole that Zion's not there and he's really had to step up and he's playing great. JV is a good choice there too, like Robbie's had. But I'm not a big fan of Draymond Green. That's probably a part of why I don't have him in my reserve list. He has been great. But again, he's, like you just said about the numbers not being great for Chris Paul, Draymond's kind of the same as well. They don't show up in a stat line, but I know he affects the game a lot for Golden State. But I couldn't put him in, maybe partly because I don't like him as much, but also I don't think he's played enough games, though he's been injured for quite a while now too. So yeah, I went with Wiggins, who I thought has been really had a good season so far. His shooting efficiency is great. His numbers are looking good, and to me, he's been the second best player on that Golden State team. He's got a really good record at the moment. So I had to put him on there, and it'd be good to give him his first All-Star appearance too. First and only. Who knows? Hopefully, we keep seeing Andrew Wiggins go up. I mean, it's been a long time coming. I don't know if you agree with me, but he's one of those guys that we've always seen the potential, but it's kind of never happened, right? So it's good.
Probably needed to put up some of those stats on a good team like he's doing this time, isn't it? I mean,
Exactly.
He was averaging the 20s before, but pretty sort of empty calories there. But yeah, I think that's a good choice, man.
Yeah, and then for the wildcards, I've got Chris Paul. Again, similar to why with Draymond, it's not always just numbers, but he affects that team winning so much. So
leadership as well.
The leadership.
It's a sentimental pick, as I said.
Point guard.
In the previous episode, he deserves it. The point guard. Yep.
And Doncic, just because again he's really hitting his stride now in the last kind of month or so. He was a bit slow at the start of the season, and the Mavs weren't playing too good. But maybe that's a coaching thing as well. New coach, getting Porzinger's more involved as well. I mean, they're all starting to play a lot better. So I couldn't really leave him out. He's probably going to be one of the greats of all time come end of his career. So I think he's got to be here.
Yeah, thanks, Lala. And just before we move on, Robbie, to our replacements for Draymond Green, I know Lala doesn't have Draymond Green in his lineup. Lala, I just want to ask you about Andrew Wiggins, right? People have been very critical of him in the past about not turning up and, not giving 100%. Must be really good to see. Just like I spoke about Jared Allen and the way he's developed, Wiggins coming into a system and an environment under Steve Kerr and having teammates like Draymond Green and Steph Curry, it's been really good for his development.
It has, man, 100%. And when you play alongside all-stars like, Steph Curry, and, they have championship aspirations this year, so he can't be half-assing this year. So I think maybe there was more to what's going on at the Timberwolves, locker room in terms of who scores and who doesn't, and
I think it helps that he's actually playing some form of defense this year too. I've always been really critical of someone that's so athletic like him that's just a liability on defense. So I think he's definitely improved in that aspect as well this season.
And coming out of college, Robbie, that was the one thing about Wiggins that everyone spoke about, how good a defender he was. So
and that's why I get it with guys like that, Woods. To me, there's no excuse. If you're that athletic, you're fast up and down the court and you can jump that high, I'm sorry, but there's no excuses for not being good at defense. You save that for guys like Joe Ingles or guys that are slow, I can't get off the ground or whatever. They've maybe got a bit more of an excuse, but people like Wiggins, I've never understood it. So glad he's finally actually sort of stepping up on that end of the court.
Yeah,
I'm with both you guys on that, right?
Snubs as well, though. Anthony Edwards, I think he was on the cusp as well. Can't really think of any other names on the top of my head.
Geez, he's fun to watch, Lala.
He's great,
And
isn't he?
Edwards, right?
And he's still growing, apparently.
Who are we putting in for Draymond then? I might just say
apparently.
Chris Paul, and for Draymond then. I might just say
Us-
Chris Paul, and they can just put a backcourt guy in for him.
Well, okay, so you're thinking,
Just
well,
anyone?
no, you're gonna have
Yeah.
to put Doncic into the front court, right? And then
I don't
bring
see
Paul
that
in
being
as a
an
wild
issue.
card,
Yeah, I'll go with
right?
that.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
I'm surprised you didn't have room for Rudy Gobert there, Robbie. But I think Luka is going to come in for me, man. I was very hard pressed to actually leave Luka out of my team, so I'll bring Luka in there for Draymond. He's a front court player, Luka, isn't he?
He's a backcourt player, which again is just strange. There should be a little bit more leeway, I guess, with guys like that. I mean, yes, he does play guard, but the guy's 6'8" and quite often sort of defense is playing as a forward or something there. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I'd bring Jonas Valanciunas in then if that was a problem. Do you know what I mean? Like just like you, right? Because if you need to replace Draymond Green with another front court player, I can't really bring in Booker or Murray to the front court, right? So I couldn't bring in Doncic, so I'd probably have to bring in JV as well. 2 Pelicans players sounds weird, but yeah, that's the way I'd go. Lala doesn't actually even have Draymond Green, so he doesn't need to replace him. So.
Yeah.
But
right, thanks,
Davis is a good pick too. Sorry to cut you off, Woods. But yeah,
no worries. Go.
I just feel like, I don't know, how many games has he even played this season? I feel like he's missed quite a lot of time.
Not enough.
But yeah, that's why I don't really have him there.
No, fair call.
And again, yeah, just injuries. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, it's good to see. Let's go.
Thanks, guys. All right, so now we're going to get to the favorite part of the show for me, Robbie.
Do I need to warn Lala? I mean, I know he's watched the show.
I'm pumped, man. I'm
you're
looking
pumped
forward
as
to
well.
this.
So you're happy for Woody to be carrying on.
Go, Woody. I can't wait. But just
hey, Lals, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about you rummaging around in your garage the other day and what you found?
Yeah,
we do this.
Went through some old boxes. You inspired me with all this pop and pack. So I went through an old box of cards that I found. Old Ultra Fleers. I found all these awesome rookie cards, and I found a whole collection of NBL cards, which I sent you photos of, and Gazy, an awesome Gazy card, and a Coach Wes Unseld card. Like, plenty of classics in there, man. Even some college cards. I had a Jalen Rose and a Juwan Howard college card I found. It was pretty interesting, but it was really nice to kind of bring back all those kind of memories of all the cards that I used to collect in the 90s, and see them. They were actually in decent condition, so it was really good. So I'm pumped for this, man.
And for the audience, when Lala actually sent the image of all the cards he had on our WhatsApp group, there was one specific Perth Wildcat NBL player that he had. Who was that, Robbie, that you love seeing?
My boy, the great Eric Watterson. So, yeah, those that sort of have heard me over the years, he's one of my all-time favourite Wildcats. Certainly wasn't someone that, filled up the box scores or the score sheet, but I just love the way that guy went about it. And just an amazing guy as well, and the times I've met him over the years. So, shout out to Watto.
Nice. I'll save that card for you, man. I'll bring it to you.
Man.
And watch this space. We got some NBL cards for pop and packs in the next few weeks as well, guys. So that's going to
be...
Hey,
Woods Classic Packs. We don't want to steal Leo.
Oh, sorry, yeah. I was just going to say, the No Dunks guys
sorry, Lee.
Shout out to Lee, but yeah, we've got our own name.
Yeah.
My apologies, Lee. All right.
I wonder if
Classic packs.
If you guys have inspired him, because they've brought back pop and packs.
They have, haven't they? Yeah.
No Dunks. So maybe it was you. Maybe it was you, Woody and Robbie. So yeah, let's do it.
So we got the 91-92 Hoop series, which we did with Liam. Robbie, it's the last one that I've got. So hopefully we get as good a pack as we got with Liam last time. So Lala, if you don't know, it's a brand new pack, by the way, guys. It's not a stitch up as Gazy thought, right? And I'm going to give you a little bit of fun facts if I can, and you can see if you can guess the player before I put it up on the screen. Occasionally we get guys.
There's no way I'm guessing before Robbie will see a number and know. He knows. Encyclopedia.
All right. Someone who Shaq dunked on when he was at New York, and he wasn't
Chris
happy
Dudley.
at all, man. Chris Dudley.
Nice. Also one of the worst free throw shooters in NBA history, Chris Dudley. Yeah.
Right. Fun fact, what was his career percentage in free throw shooting, Robbie?
Was it in the 30s, maybe, I'm going to say?
Have a look for us while I bring out that rest, yeah?
I'm going to say it was like 30s or 40s, but yeah, let me just check that there. He was a big unit, wasn't he, Chris Dudley? That's for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's check that for you. What do we got? Ooh, I think he might have just got in the 41% career.
There you go.
45%, sorry, 45. But look, he had some years where he was well and truly in the 30s, like probably 7 seasons where he shot 30-something%. So imagine the hacker Dudley they would have done if they were doing that back then.
Now we've pulled this guy's card, I think maybe in the last week or two, Robbie. He's banned from Madison Square Garden, and
The Oak.
he's in the card with Detlef Schrempf on the Pacers.
Very good.
Charles
Yeah, I
Oakley,
remember that
baby.
card. Yeah, I don't think Detlef Schrempf would have been getting that rebound, by the way. I think Oakley had that.
No chance, man. Shout out to Detlef Schrempf, guest star on Parks and Recreation.
Big time,
right?
Yep.
All right. This is one that I don't know. Orlando Magic's guard forward, Jerry Reynolds.
Yeah, Jerry Ice Reynolds, I think his nickname was.
Was it?
Yeah, don't know a lot about him. I do remember him from sort of those Magic teams in that sort of era there. So probably about the
Louisiana State, man.
best I can do on that one for you there. But
Yep. Averaged 12.9 points a game with Orlando in 1991. So, not bad. All right.
yeah, it was Ice. His nickname was Ice. So
Was it? I love this guy. Sixers forward Armon Gilliam.
Big Armon, yep. Also played with the Nets back in the day, didn't he? And maybe Phoenix, maybe as well. But yeah, he was a big sort of inside presence. He played with Barkley and those guys in the 90s. So yeah,
Southpaw, if I'm not mistaken. Right?
I don't know whether he was a lefty.
Shooting with the right hand there.
No, he's shooting with the right hand. My bad.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
And fun fact, Armon, Armon, he changed that to what?
I don't know.
Amen.
Oh, really?
Armen. Amen Gilliam later on in his career, right?
Fact.
All right. Former coach in the NBA, forward from the Minnesota Timberwolves, not a very good coach, right?
Sam Mitchell.
Tyrone Corbin.
Ty Corbin, a former Atlanta Hawk there, Woods. Yeah, I liked Ty when he was with the Hawks. Also had some time with the Utah Jazz as well. So, yeah, I didn't mind Ty Corbin back in the day.
Okay, leave this one for Lala because I think he can get this, right?
No,
Don't be too
pressure,
greedy, right?
Pressure.
Phoenix Suns point guard. Played alongside Dan Marley. Played alongside Charles Barkley.
Kevin Johnson?
Kevin Johnson!
Nice.
KJ! I like it.
I liked him. He was a former mayor of Sacramento as well. He sort of got into politics later in his career. But, yeah, I think he was drafted by the Cavs, wasn't he? And then got traded sort of early on in his career to Phoenix. But, yeah, love that. Remember that dunk he did over Akeem, too, down the baseline? Huge dunk.
Hell yeah. And when we speak of Alex English being underrated and not spoken about enough in the annals of history, Kevin Johnson's another guy we need to speak about a little bit.
I might have to rock a KJ jersey in a future episode there, Woods.
How many All-Star games, by the way?
One?
I'd say 2.
One or none?
I don't know, man. You guys
I'm
I'm
going to say one or none. Let me just confirm that. The answer is, 3 times. So we're a bit off on that one. 5-time All-NBA as well. So pretty fair effort there.
All right. We got a guard forward from the Blazers who had his fair share of history with drug problems in the NBA, but then he came out of it better off for it. All right. We got Portland Trailblazers, Walter Davis.
Wow. That's a blast from the past. Yeah. Walter Davis. I don't have a lot of fun facts on him there, Woods, but no, I remember him well.
Yep. You can use him on 2K22 in my team. So, yeah. All right, this is one for you that I don't know much about, but I remember him. I think he was a point guard from the Sacramento Kings, Travis Mays.
Travis Mays, yeah, he was. He was a lefty, I believe. He was a little guy. What's his height listed on there, Woods? I know Travis Best. I'm thinking of. You're talking Travis Mays, yeah.
6'2".
Okay.
14.3 points per game for Sacramento, 1991. So, I think he would have been on the same team as Never Nervous Purvis, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and maybe Lionel Simmons and some of those guys back then. Yep.
Oh, I love this guy. Very underrated. Bruising forward for the Sacramento Kings. Not Sacramento Kings, San Antonio Spurs. I think he spent a little bit of time in Milwaukee. Terry Cummings.
Nice. Out of DePaul University, right?
He is, yes. DePaul University.
Nice.
Second pick in the 1982 NBA draft.
He had a good
Who's
career.
the first?
What year, sorry?
1982.
82. Was that Magic?
Might have been.
Check that. 1982 NBA draft. James Worthy.
Oh, there you go.
So I was a year late for
All
Magic.
right.
Dominic was pick 3 in that draft too.
He's played in the NBA. I'm pretty sure the Bulls, the Lakers,
Jordan.
and the Seattle Supersonics. and now he's moved to Australia some 20 years ago and forged a career as a coach and developing the game.
Am I predicting he's got no hair?
Yep, he's in Melbourne at the moment.
Sedale Threet.
Sedale Threet, man. Am I right? Lakers, Clippers, and Sonics, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Tell us a little bit about him now and what he's doing in Australia, Robbie.
Yeah, I believe he sort of stayed out here. He's just sort of coaching. I'm not sure if he's coaching sort of at the junior level, I think it might be. But he's, another one of these guys that sort of seems to come from America to Australia and never wants to leave. So, yeah, shout out to Sedale Threet there.
Yeah, he's called Australia home for 20-plus years. And I think he's in Melbourne somewhere at the moment.
Yeah.
So, yep. Okay, man. I'm pretty sure it's a rest in peace to this guy. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong in the past.
You have been, yeah.
Ex-coach of the Sacramento Kings. Very recently, I think his son took over after he passed away. Who am I speaking of?
Sacramento Kings. Oh, Rick Adelman?
Rick Adelman.
Rick Adelman is definitely still alive there, Woods.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who's the one who passed away recently?
I don't know. We're going back to that earlier episode with was it Jimmy Rogers from the Bulls and the Celtics, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm tripping, man. Anyway,
75 years old, Rick Adelman. Yeah, he had a great career as a coach, hadn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, well, sorry, my bad to Rick Adelman and Adelman.
Hey, at least you checked it. You didn't say he was. You said he might be. So you're all good.
Record it.
And yeah, he was the coach of the West All Stars that year.
Nice. Yeah. No Hawks cards today, or what?
Not yet. Oh, look at this. A special edition Stay in School Jamming with Will Smith card.
Very good. Nice. What's on the back of that?
Some lyrics, some stats. What is it?
Yeah.
Some words. Poetry.
Got the theme song for Fresh Prince of Bel-Air on.
What a lot of people don't understand, whatever you do, you need to have your education. Will Smith, star of the hit NBC sitcom The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, hosted the 1991 NBA All-Star Stay in School Jam, a nationally televised special broadcast from the 1991 NBA All-Star Weekend in Charlotte, North Carolina. The Fresh Prince joins top NBA players and coaches in urging all students to stay in school. It's your best move. I like it. Good initiative.
Nice. On your will.
All of 30 years ago. All right. We talked about this guy earlier, man. Okay. Teammate of Theodore Blue Edwards at Milwaukee. Got those steals. All-star card here. Alvin Robertson.
I believe Alvin Robertson's one of 3 or 4 players that got a quadruple double back in the day. So, of course, being sort of that wing sort of guy, it was 10 steals instead of blocks like the big guys. But he's on that list, I believe, with Akeem Olajuwon, David Robinson, and there's one other guy whose name eludes me. But, yeah, he was a very good player, Alvin Robertson.
Okay, and I think I confused Rick Adelman for this guy. Can you believe I got the guy who I was talking about, right? Had a beautiful wife, played on various teams, the Knicks. He was part of that big Boston Celtics to Knicks trade. Who am I talking about? Paul Westhead.
Okay, yep, Paul Westhead, yep. Yeah, I remember him.
And tell me,
Paul Westhead. Paul Westhead, all right, yeah. Paul Westhead. I believe he's very much alive as well, Woods.
Is he?
I think so, yep. Yep, he's still alive. He's 82. He's actually, he was coaching in sort of women's college up to about sort of 5 years ago there. But no, he's still around there, Woods. What are you trying to kill off all these old coaches for anyway? Come on, man.
All right, my apologies. Who was the Sacramento coach? Hold on.
Can't even picture that now. Like how old are we talking Sacramento coach? Look.
Have to do a whole new show for Woody. Is this person passed away?
It's Paul Westfall, man. What are you talking about? Paul Westfall passed away.
Paul Westfall or Paul Westhead?
No, was that Westfall or? Oh, it's Westhead. Yeah, so that's what. It's
Woods.
Paul Westfall. My apologies. Okay. It's Paul Westfall.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, okay, no worries. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't tripping, man. But yeah. Okay, this is a team card. Los Angeles Clippers.
So we got there Ron Harper. Maybe some Charles Smith on there as well. Gary Grant looks like the little guy, the darker guy.
Yeah. Charles Smith, Ron Harper.
Gary Grant.
Yep.
Nice.
Shout out to Matt Clayton.
That's it. 2 shout outs in one episode.
Okay, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut in the future about
coaches.
Coaches that have just coaches, no more.
You just see like an old coach and you assume they passed away.
Oh man, got egg on my face too many times, Robbie. Okay, thanks so much, guys. You enjoyed today?
Awesome.
Great fun, man.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, it was great fun. Look, a few corrections from last week. Big Prabs, I know you're a big fan of the show. He pointed out to us that not only did Sean Elliott make an All-Star appearance with Detroit in '93, but when he came back in 1996, he was an All-Star with the San Antonio Spurs. So thanks, Prabs, for shouting that out. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Please subscribe to the show, as I mentioned earlier, on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. Robbie, where can we be followed, man?
Of course, mate. So on Twitter, we're at Throwback Hoops. We've had a really sort of increase in following there, and we're sort of putting a lot of content on there, which is great. And also, obviously, our Instagram, we're throwback.hoops. And of course, our email address there is throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. And what about you? What about give us some TikTok and some Patreon details?
Yeah, so Patreon's another thing. We've got a few more guys that have been pledging their support. It'll be really nice if you can jump on Patreon and be a supporter of ours. There's a few costs that go into maintaining the podcast, so we'd appreciate everyone's help there. In terms of TikTok, I've been a little bit more active lately, showcasing what we're doing. Woody_V83 at TikTok. So appreciate everyone that's following me there. Look, Lala, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, man. Did you have a good day today? Or
Great, man. Thank you for having me back on. First return guest. I'll take it.
That's it.
So I look forward to all the new guests you're going to have moving forward. So yeah, let's keep this going, guys. Well done.
Yep.
Great to have you, mate.
And where can people follow you on Instagram or wherever, man? Yeah.
For me?
Yeah.
Oh man, you can check out Swish Vintage, which is on my hat. It's a little clothing brand which I'm about to get up and going. But yeah, check that out if you got free time. But Throwback Hoops is the place to go.
Yeah, look, I mean, thanks for everything you did behind the scenes. We're so happy, man, and it's a very exciting time in your life, right, man? It's but a couple of weeks away, and you're going to be a father for the first time. So
yeah, man, yeah. Looking forward to that. So new chapter about to start happening. Yeah. So
awesome, mate.
Thanks, man.
Awesome, guys. Look, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Good to see that you guys have got your Throwback Hoops mugs.
What's the go, Woods? Where's yours? Is your old man stolen from your son?
Yeah, I left it at my parents' house. I'll have it back next week. Why don't you put them up on the screen, guys?
Right. Hey, Woods, can I say one thing before we go? Because we didn't do any Hawks talk this week. The Hawks are on fire. We're back.
Bit like last year, man, when we had a little bit of a.
This is all you needed. This is all you needed.
Maybe we just needed to get rid of that problem guy from the locker room. Maybe that's all we needed, right?
Who's that guy?
I don't know. I'm not going to mention his name on the show.
I don't know who he is, man. Look, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks for all your support. Lala, any final thoughts?
No, man, keep this train going, guys, and keep up the great content. Throwback Hoops.
All right, Jeremy, Lala, all the backroom staff that help out with this podcast that people don't see. Thank you so much, Lala. Pleasure to have you. Robbie, always great to chop it up with you, man. And thanks to the whole public for throwing your support behind Throwback Hoops. Can't wait to do it next week.
Peace out, guys.
Peace.